Today we're diving into a topic that's sure to tick some of you guys off, no pun intended, the hidden truth about watch servicing costs in 2024. Now, if you own a mechanical watch or are looking to get into mechanical watches, whether they be hand-wound or automatic, you might be surprised to learn that watch servicing costs have actually gone up in 2024. So what's the reason for these price increases, and what should you as a watch collector be aware of? Well, we're going to talk about that today. It is 1:41 p.m. Let's get down to business. So first, let's talk about the basics, okay? Watch servicing is kind of like getting your car serviced. It's a routine maintenance check, and sometimes it turns into a repair. But unlike a routine car service, where they might be changing the fluids or doing some wear and tear item replacement, wristwatches have hundreds of very little parts that need to correspond with one another perfectly in order to tell the time or to function the complications properly. In fact, a routine watch service could involve full removal of these parts, complete disassembly, cleaning, lubricating, and reassembly of these hundreds of parts. And if you think that sounds like a lot of work, you're right. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the cost of this meticulous work has gone up significantly this year. In fact, around the end of 2023, people were buzzing that the Rolex Service Center announced that they are charging anywhere from $800 to $2,000 for a routine service. Why? Well, the explanation might not be just that these watchmakers are getting more and more greedy, which they are. There are several other factors driving these price increases, and some might surprise you. First up, as alluded to earlier, skilled labor. Believe it or not, there's a big shortage of watchmakers that's actually freaking out some higher-ups in the Swiss watch industry. In fact, Watchinista.com did a very good expose on this. They wrote, "If you can't yet see the problem, the Employers Convention of the Swiss watch industry, the umbrella organization for employers and issues related to professional training, sums it up nicely." You see, according to them, an estimated 4,000 new watchmakers will be needed in Switzerland alone by 2026 just to cover the loss of retired employees and meet increased demand. Unfortunately, watchmaking schools don't have the enrollment numbers to quell nerves in the industry. Yikes. And this makes sense. You know, the art of horology is highly specialized. Fewer and fewer young people are getting into this very niche industry, and the truth is, watches aren't really considered high-tech nowadays. Everything is focused on the tech industries, everything that we have in our pockets, everything we have that I am talking to you on right now, that's where the big money is, and that's what's interesting to the young people. So with that demand for these highly skilled technicians exceeding the supply, these watchmakers that are still here working on the watches can actually, command a much higher wage. And guess who ends up footing that bill? Us, the watch collectors. Secondly, we have to look at the actual parts and tech involved in these watches. As watch technology evolves and as some of these watchmakers push the envelopes with what these watches can do, the parts and tools get more and more intricate and expensive. You see, watches are coming out with more and more interesting, unique complications made from interesting, unique materials, some of which are proprietary, which means the watchmakers themselves are the only ones that can supply these things. So in many cases, unfortunately, a lot of these very interesting watches that have proprietary materials or that utilize proprietary tooling to service and repair these watches, they're not just lying around in every independent watchmaker's toolbox. So again, that forces us as the watch collector to pay a premium. Which brings us to another point: manufacturer policies. You see, with these watchmakers using proprietary items and having their own way of servicing and repairing their own watches, many of these luxury watchmakers have very, very strict policies when it comes to who can open up and work on their watches. obviously they would prefer you to send your watch to their authorized service center so that they can have a lot of control over who's tinkering with their items. While this could ensure quality and authenticity and again, nice controlled areas with which the watches are worked on, it also means you and I, the watch collectors, are stuck paying a premium to have our watches serviced at an authorized service center. So again, in 2024, Rolex owners are on average paying over $1,000 for a routine service. And it could just go up from there depending on what materials and what complications the watch has. So what can you do to navigate these increasing costs? So I guess the first point is kind of obvious, and this is regular maintenance, right? This is just like a car that you might use a lot every day. This is just like your body. You want to have routine checkups to make sure that everything is healthy, and you want to get out ahead of any potential problem, because the longer you wait between these routine checkups might mean bigger and bigger problems and bigger price tags later down the line when something inevitably does go wrong. The second thing I would say is consider independent watchmakers. Now, I'm not telling you to, void your manufacturer warranty with anything, but there are a lot of very skilled, very reputable independent watchmakers, and I personally work with one that I love, TikTok Watch Repairs. He works on all my watches from Timex to Rolex. He's just incredibly skilled, and he doesn't charge me an arm and a leg like Rolex would. And the third thing I would tell you is to know your watch. Pay attention to how the watch is running. Make sure that nothing's going awry. If it's keeping decent time, you're probably good. But again, I would tell you to try to get out ahead of any potential problem. But if you're noticing that things aren't working properly, hey, I don't know if the date cycled when it should have. Hey, I think it's kind of running a little bit slow. Oh, I think it's running a little bit fast. These are things that are kind of big signals that you might want to get that watch looked at. So in my opinion, taking these 3 simple steps can really keep your timepieces in tip-top shape, and it'll save you from having to spend big bucks in the future. So in conclusion, the hidden truth about watch servicing costs in 2024 is that it's kind of a combination. We're looking at skilled labor shortages, specialized parts, manufacturer policies, and all of these things are driving the prices up and up. So what do you think about these rising costs? And let me know in the comment section, have you been hit with a big watch servicing bill recently? Tell me in the comment section below, and we can all kind of try to make each other feel better about that. Alright guys, I will catch you on the next one. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.
Ah yes, you can take your watch here and service it with us. Don't worry, we won't need both arms and legs, only one arm and one leg. But don't worry, you have duplicates of both, so you'll be fine. And you get to keep your service warranty, so you won't be voiding anything going to a naughty independent watchmaker. Oh, please give us more of your money.